Part 1. The End. The arrival of the Galactic Council's envoy ship cast a shadow over Earth that extended far beyond its massive physical presence. The vessel, a gleaming construct of impossible angles and pulsing energy fields, hovered above the United Nations headquarters in New York, its size dwarfing the tallest skyscrapers. Humanity had known about alien life for decades, had even established tentative trade relations with some of the nearest civilizations. But the Council, the supreme governing body of the known galaxy, had largely ignored Earth as an insignificant backwater. Until today. In the emergency session of the UN Security Council, Secretary-General Maya Okafor stood rigid as the alien transmission played again. The being on screen had a vaguely humanoid shape, but with iridescent skin that shifted between deep blues and purples. Its eyes were horizontal slits that glowed with an inner light. People of Earth, the being spoke in flawless English, the result of universal translation technology. I am High Executor Valtech of the Galactic Council. For millennia, we have observed your development from afar. Your recent achievements in faster-than-light travel have brought you to our attention. The Council extends its protection to your world. In exchange, a tribute will be required. The transmission continued, detailing the tribute: 20% of Earth's refined metals, 30% of rare earth elements, and 5,000 humans annually to serve in the Council's labor forces. The terms were non-negotiable. The Council would return in one standard cycle, approximately 3 Earth months, to collect. When the recording ended, the room erupted in angry voices. "This is extortion," shouted the Russian representative. "We cannot allow our citizens to be taken as slaves," added the Chinese delegate. Maya raised her hand for silence. "We've been in contact with our military advisors. The Council's technology is centuries beyond ours. Their ships have weapons systems that could reduce our cities to ash in minutes. Direct confrontation would be suicide." General Isaac Chen, representing Earth's Joint Military Command, stepped forward. "Madam Secretary, with all due respect, surrender without resistance is unacceptable. Humanity has never bowed to tyrants." "I'm not suggesting surrender, General," Maya replied, her voice steady. "I'm suggesting we buy time." In the weeks that followed, Earth presented a facade of compliance. Diplomatic channels remained open with the Council envoys who remained in orbit. Resources were gathered at collection points around the globe. Lists were compiled of volunteers for the labor force, mostly fabricated names. All the while, behind the scenes, Operation Defiance took shape. Deep beneath the Cheyenne Mountain complex, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a room of the world's top scientists and military strategists. The holographic display showed technical specifications that had been classified beyond top secret until now. Project Prometheus was never meant to be weaponized, she explained, gesturing to the intricate schematics. "We developed the gravitational displacement technology for deep space exploration. But with modifications, it can disrupt the molecular cohesion of advanced energy shields. Our simulations suggest the Council's defensive systems would be vulnerable." General Chen nodded. "And the quantum entanglement missiles?" "Ready for deployment," replied Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, the Japanese physicist who had pioneered the technology. "Once locked onto a target, they can't be jammed or evaded. The warheads phase in and out of normal spacetime until impact." Around the world, similar meetings were taking place. In Bangalore, engineers perfected stealth systems that could mask Earth's defensive fleet from the Council's sensors. In Johannesburg, combat pilots trained on simulators programmed with all available data on Council ship movements and tactics. In orbital shipyards disguised as commercial stations, vessels equipped with humanity's most advanced technologies were prepared for battle. The Council's arrogance proved to be humanity's greatest advantage. Their envoys, accustomed to immediate compliance from lesser species, never thought to look beyond the surface submission. They conducted only cursory scans of Earth's military installations, seeing outdated weaponry deliberately left exposed while the real defenses remained hidden in underground bundles and underwater bases. High Executor Vault-Tec maintained a diplomatic residence in what had once been the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Maya Okafor requested a meeting 2 weeks before the collection ships were due to arrive. "High Executor," she said, bowing her head in a show of deference that disguised her contempt, "Earth wishes to demonstrate our good faith. We have prepared an advance payment of rare materials as a gesture of our commitment to Council rule." Vault-Tec's mouthparts twisted in what might have been a smile. "This is most wise, Secretary General. The Council rewards obedience and punishes defiance with equal measure. Your species will find that acceptance of your place in the galactic order brings many benefits. We are eager to learn from the Council's wisdom," Maya replied, maintaining her diplomatic mask. "Perhaps you would honor us by accepting a tour of our collection facilities. We wish to ensure our methods meet with your approval." The High Executor agreed, his vanity preventing him from seeing the true purpose of the invitation. As Maya guided him through carefully staged facilities in various parts of the world, intelligence agents cataloged every reaction, every casual remark about Council technology or procedures. Each snippet of information was another piece in humanity's strategic puzzle. On the final day of the tour, as they stood overlooking a massive stockpile of palladium in South Africa, Vault-Tec placed a 4-fingered hand on Maya's shoulder. "Your species has surprised me, Secretary General. I had expected more resistance. It is refreshing to find such pragmatism in a developing race." Maya smiled thinly. "Humans are adaptable, High Executor. It's how we've survived this long." "A valuable trait," Vault-Tec nodded. "Perhaps some of your people will even rise to administrative positions within the labor force. Those who demonstrate exceptional capability are sometimes granted citizenship after their service term." "How generous," Maya replied, forcing warmth into her voice while her nails dug into her palms. That night, in a secure bunker beneath Geneva, she met with the Earth Defense Council, representatives from every nation, united by the common threat. "The collection fleet arrives in 7 days, she announced. "High Executor Vault-Tec has confirmed the ships will enter low Earth orbit over each collection point simultaneously. They'll deploy ground teams to secure the tributes." General Chen studied the tactical display. "Their ships will be vulnerable during deployment. That's our window." Admiral Khatri of the Indian Navy leaned forward. "What about civilian casualties? If we strike while they're overpopulation centers?" "The collection points have been evacuated under the guise of preparing for the Council's arrival," the Brazilian representative interjected. "We've relocated citizens within a 100-kilometer radius of each site." Maya looked around the table at the determined faces before her. "For the first time in human history, we stand truly united. Not just by fear, but by resolve. The Council expects us to kneel. We will show them that humanity stands." In orbit, aboard the Council envoy ship, High Executor Vault-Tec prepared his final report before the arrival of the collection fleet. His assessment was glowing. Earth had demonstrated exemplary compliance, the humans were properly submissive, and the tribute would be collected without incident. He predicted that within 3 generations, Earth would be fully integrated into the Council's hierarchy, providing resources and labor while receiving the minimum benefits afforded to compliant worlds. As he transmitted his report to Council headquarters 16 light-years away, Vault-Tec remained blissfully unaware of the storm gathering below. In bunkers and bases across the planet, soldiers prepared for battle. In hidden hangars, pilots ran final checks on fighters equipped with technologies the Council believed were centuries beyond human capability. And in command centers buried deep underground, strategists finalized the plans that would determine the future of human independence. The Council had demanded tribute. Humanity was preparing its response. The DEFIAN's dawn broke over the Atlantic as the collection fleet arrived, 47 vessels materializing from hyperspace in perfect formation. The massive ships, each 5 times larger than the largest human aircraft carrier, moved into position above the designated collection points around the globe. Their sudden appearance caused electromagnetic disruptions that temporarily disabled civilian power grids and communications, an intentional show of force. In the command center beneath Cheyenne Mountain, General Chen watched the tactical display with steady eyes. "Status report," he ordered. "All Council vessels have assumed collection positions," reported Colonel Fatima Hassan. "They're deploying atmospheric shields and preparing ground transports. And our forces, stealth systems functioning at optimal levels. Orbital defenses show as debris or satellites on their scans. Ground installations remain undetected. All personnel are at battle stations." Chen nodded and opened a secure channel to Secretary General Okafor, who was coordinating with world leaders from the Geneva bunker. "Madam Secretary, the Council fleet is in position. Request authorization to commence Operation Defiance." Maya's face appeared on screen, her expression resolute. "You have authorization, General. May God be with us all." Chen turned to the communications officer. "Transmit the message." Across the collection fleet, communications officers reported an incoming transmission from Earth on all frequencies. High Commander Zulvex, leader of the collection operation, ordered it displayed on the command ship's main screen. Instead of the expected obsequious greeting from human officials, the face of Secretary General Maya Okafor appeared, her expression no longer deferential but defiant. "Attention Council Collection Fleet. This is Secretary General Maya Okafor speaking on behalf of United Earth. The tributes you seek will not be provided. Earth does not recognize the Council's authority over our world or our people. We reject your demands for submission. You have 30 minutes to withdraw from Earth orbit and our solar system. After that time, we will consider your presence an act of war and respond accordingly." Stunned silence filled the command ship's bridge until High Commander Zulvex erupted in laughter. "This is absurd. Do these primitives truly believe they can challenge the Council?" His tactical officer appeared less amused. "High Commander, our scans are detecting anomalous energy signatures around the planet. They weren't there during our preliminary surveys. Some pitiful attempt at defense." Zulvex dismissed. "Prepare punitive strikes on their major cities. We'll show them the cost of defiance before we take what we came for." As the collection ships powered up their weapon systems, sensors across the fleet began reporting malfunctions. Gravitational distortions appeared seemingly from nowhere, interfering with targeting systems. What had registered as orbital debris suddenly disappeared from scans, replaced by small, fast-moving craft approaching the Council vessels from multiple vectors. "Impossible," whispered the science officer as data streamed across his console. "They're using gravitational displacement technology. That's level 4 advancement. They shouldn't have that capability for at least 3 centuries. "Evasive maneuvers," shouted Zulvex, but it was too late. The first wave of quantum entanglement missiles struck the collection fleet's outer ships. The warheads phased through energy shields as if they weren't there, materializing only upon contact with the ship's hulls. Explosions rippled across the massive vessels, precise and devastating, targeting propulsion systems and weapons arrays with surgical accuracy. Simultaneously, Earth's defensive fleet revealed itself. Ships that had been hidden in the shadow of the moon, disguised as ancient satellites, or concealed beneath the oceans, rose to engage the invaders. They were smaller than the Council vessels, but faster and more maneuverable, their designs optimized specifically for this confrontation. In his command chair, Zulvex struggled to comprehend what was happening. "Return fire," he ordered. "Deploy fighters. Crush these insects." Council fighters poured from launch bays, advanced craft that had dominated countless battlefields across the galaxy. They were met by Earth's aerospace force. Atmospheric fighters augmented with reverse-engineered alien technology and piloted by humans who had trained their entire lives for this moment. Captain Sofia Mendoza led Phantom Squadron from the Brazilian Air Force, her neural interface connecting her directly with her craft's systems. "Remember your training," she transmitted to her pilots as they engage. "Pattern Omega. Use their momentum against them." The Council fighters were faster in straight lines, but less agile. Earth pilots exploited this weakness, using complex evasive patterns that forced the alien craft to overshoot. As the Council fighters passed, the human vessels released countermeasures, microscopic drones that attached to the alien ships' hulls and disrupted their control systems. In orbit, the battle took on a different character. Commander Wei Lai of the Chinese-Malaysian Space Force directed the assault on the Council's flagship from his command vessel, the Sun Tzu. Gravitational disruptors at full power, reported his weapons officer. Their shields are destabilizing. All vessels, concentrate fire on the designated weak points. Wei ordered. Boarding teams stand by. The Council had never anticipated having to defend against boarding actions from a primitive species. When armored pods breached the hulls of 3 collection ships, the defensive response was scattered and uncoordinated. Earth's special forces, combining the elite units of a dozen nations, fought their way through alien corridors to critical systems. High Commander Zulvex watched in mounting horror as his tactical display showed one collection ship after another losing power or falling out of formation. "This is impossible," he whispered. They were compliant. Vault-Tec reported they were compliant. His communications officer, bleeding from a wound to his face tentacles, looked up in panic. "High Commander, we're receiving reports of ground attacks on our landing parties. The collection points were empty. They led us into ambushes." Across the globe, Council ground forces that had deployed to secure tributes found themselves surrounded by Earth military units that had been concealed beneath holographic terrain or in underground bunkers. The aliens' superior individual weaponry was offset by human numbers and the home field advantage. In Moscow, Russian and Eastern European forces engaged Council troops near the Ural Mountains collection point. In Kenya, a combined African Union task force surrounded and neutralized the alien landing party before they could retreat to their transports. Similar scenarios played out across all 12 collection points, the coordination made possible by quantum communication networks that the Council couldn't detect or interrupt. 6 hours after the battle began, High Commander Zulvex made the decision that no Council fleet commander had made in over 3 centuries. He ordered a retreat. Of the 47 vessels that had arrived to collect Earth's tribute, only 29 remained operational enough to limp back into hyperspace. The others were destroyed, disabled, or captured. In the aftermath, as damage assessments came in from around the world, the Earth Defense Council reconvened in Geneva. The mood was cautiously triumphant, tempered by the knowledge that they had won only the first battle of what would likely be a protracted war. "Casualties?" asked Maya, her voice hoarse from hours of coordinating the global response. "Approximately 17,000 military personnel lost worldwide," reported General Chen. "Civilian casualties minimal thanks to the evacuations. We've captured over 3,000 Council ground troops and secured 4 of their vessels mostly intact." Dr. Rodriguez entered the room, her lab coat stained with unknown fluids. "The technology we've recovered exceeds our most optimistic projections. Their navigational data alone gives us the locations of dozens of Council worlds, including their central administrative planet." A murmur ran through the room. Admiral Caitry's eyes widened. "You're not suggesting we—" "That's exactly what I'm suggesting," Maya interrupted. "The Council won't accept this defeat. They'll return with a larger force, prepared for our defenses. We can't afford to wait for them to regroup." General Chen studied the star chart that Dr. Rodriguez had brought. "A preemptive strike at the heart of Council space. It's audacious. It's necessary," Maya insisted. "We've proven we can fight them. Now we need to prove they can't afford to fight us. We need to take the war to them, make it so costly that they'll have no choice but to recognize our sovereignty." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, the representative from Nigeria spoke. "If we do this, if we strike at their center of power, there's no going back. We will have declared ourselves not just defenders, but aggressors in the eyes of the galaxy." Maya nodded gravely. "The Council has ruled through fear for millennia. Species across the galaxy submit because they believe resistance is futile. We have the opportunity to shatter that belief, not just for ourselves, but for all those who live under Council oppression. One by one, the representatives voiced their agreement. Earth would not wait for the Council's return. They would take the fight to the enemy's doorstep. The captured Council ships would be studied, replicated, and improved upon. The prisoners would be sources of vital intelligence, and the star maps would guide humanity's forces to their target. As the meeting concluded, Maya stood alone at the window, looking up at the night sky where debris from the battle still orbited alongside the stars. The Council had demanded tribute. Humanity had delivered defiance. And soon, they would deliver something the Council had never expected from a primitive species: retribution. The Ritsi-Keoning. The Council homeworld of Arcalax hung in space like a jewel, its gleaming cityscapes visible even from high orbit. For millennia, it had stood as the untouchable center of galactic power, a planet that had never known invasion. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, humanity's fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Arcalax system. Unlike the Council's rigid formations, the Earth vessels appeared in a scattered pattern that confounded the defensive grid. 17 ships in all, 5 captured and modified Council vessels, and 12 of Earth's own design, incorporating everything humans had learned from studying alien technology. Admiral Helena Kovic stood on the bridge of the UES Nemesis, humanity's first purpose-built interstellar warship. Originally the director of a Croatian shipbuilding company, she had overseen the adaptation of terrestrial shipyards to construct vessels capable of reaching the stars. Now she would lead humanity's forces in the most audacious military action in Earth's history. "Status report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the weight of the moment. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," replied her executive officer. "Stealth systems functioning at 97% efficiency. Council orbital defenses have not detected our presence." Helena nodded. "Begin Phase 1. Let's knock on their door." Throughout the system, automated probes launched from Earth ships activated simultaneously, creating gravitational distortions that confused Arcalax's sensor network. At the same time, a single modified Council vessel, the captured flagship from the Earth invasion, now rechristened UES Trojan, broadcast Council identification codes and approached the planet openly. On Arcalax, Supreme Councilor Dravmok was in session with the ruling conclave when the alert came. The chamber, a vast amphitheater of crystalline structures and anti-gravity platforms, fell silent as a communications officer interrupted the proceedings. "Supreme Councilor, High Commander Zolvex's flagship has returned. It's approaching orbit and requesting emergency landing clearance." Dravmok's 4 eyes blinked in succession, a sign of surprise among his species. Zolvex. He was reported lost with half his fleet at that primitive world. Earth. What is the status of his vessel? Damage, Supreme Councilor. Their communications are fragmented. They're requesting immediate audience to deliver critical intelligence about the Earth threat. Grant them clearance, Dravmok ordered. Prepare a reception in the Grand Hall. If Zolvex has survived to bring us information about these humans, we must hear it at once. The Trojan descended through Arcalax's atmosphere, following the guidance beams to the massive landing platform adjacent to the Council's central citadel. Council security forces formed an honor guard, prepared to receive what they believed were returning heroes who had somehow escaped the debacle at Earth. The ship's main hatch opened, revealing a ramp descending into swirling mist, standard decontamination protocol for vessels returning from foreign worlds. From this mist emerged figures in Council environmental armor, their features obscured by helmets, moving with the precise gait of Council military personnel. Only when they reached the bottom of the ramp did the truth reveal itself. The lead figure removed its helmet, revealing the face of General Isaac Chen. "In the name of United Earth," he announced, "I claim diplomatic right of audience with the Supreme Councilor." Before the stunned security forces could react, a series of controlled electromagnetic pulses radiated from devices concealed within the Honor Guard's ceremonial weapons, temporarily disabling Council technology within a half-kilometer radius, including personal weapons and communication devices. From within the Trojan emerged not the expected Council survivors, but 200 of Earth's most elite Special Forces operators, armed with hybrid weapons combining human ingenuity with reverse-engineered alien technology. They secured the landing platform within minutes, meeting only token resistance from guards equipped for ceremony rather than combat. Meanwhile, across the Arcalex system, the real assault began. Earth vessels engaged Council defensive platforms with quantum entanglement missiles, while stealth fighters deployed from larger ships to neutralize the orbital defense grid. Unlike the brute force approach that the Council used against its enemies, humanity's attack was surgical, targeting military assets while avoiding civilian structures. In the Council's Grand Hall, Supreme Counselor Ravmok found himself facing General Chen and a small delegation of human representatives, including Dr. Elena Rodriguez and a diplomatic team led by Ambassador Marcus Quaim of Ghana. "What is the meaning of this outrage?" Dravmok demanded, his normally imposing presence diminished by confusion and the unprecedented situation. "How dare you invade the sacred chambers of the Council?" "We dare because you left us no choice," Ambassador Quaim replied, his voice measured but firm. "Your Council demanded our submission. You attempted to take our resources, our people as tribute. When we refused, you attacked. Now we stand before you not as supplicants, but as equals demanding recognition." Dravmok's skin flushed with colors indicating both rage and fear. "Equals? You are primitives who have stolen technology you cannot possibly understand. This insurrection will be crushed. Our main battle fleet will reduce your world to ash." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "Your main battle fleet is currently engaged with Phantoms, Supreme Counselor. These autonomous drones." The display showed small, agile craft confounding Council ships around Arcalex's outer moons. "Have been programmed with all the tactical data we extracted from your captured vessels. They're leading your fleet on a costly chase through your own defensive minefields." Outside the Citadel, the sounds of battle grew closer. Council reinforcements attempting to reach the Grand Hall were being intercepted by human forces who had studied Council architecture and battle tactics extensively during the 6-month preparation period. General Chen's communication device chimed. He checked it and nodded to Ambassador Quaim. "Phase 3 is complete. We control all primary infrastructure nodes. Arcalex's defensive grid, planetary shields, and major communication hubs are under our control." For the first time in the history of the Council, panic began to spread among the ruling conclave. Species that had enjoyed unquestioned dominance for centuries found themselves helpless, their technology turned against them, their military might neutralized by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Ambassador Quaim addressed not just Dravmok but the entire conclave. "We could have bombarded your cities from orbit. We could have done to your homeworld what you have done to countless others who refused your demands. Instead, we stand before you offering a choice." He activated his own holographic display, showing a document titled, "The Accords of Mutual Recognition." These terms are non-negotiable. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign world, exempt from tribute or service to the Council. Additionally, any world currently under Council rule will be granted the right to self-determination through planetary referendum. The Council will transition from an empire to a true galactic forum, where membership is voluntary and based on mutual benefit. Dravmok's color shifted to deep indigo, the Council equivalent of pallid shock. This is revolution. You would destroy the order that has maintained peace across the galaxy for millennia. Your peace was built on subjugation, General Chen countered. True peace comes from respect, not fear. You have one standard cycle to consider our terms. Dr. Rodriguez added, "During that time, we will maintain control of your defensive systems. Make no mistake, if you reject these terms, we are prepared to demonstrate the full extent of our capabilities." As if to emphasize her point, a controlled detonation occurred in high orbit, visible through the Grand Hall's transparent dome. A Council battlecruiser that had attempted to break through Earth's blockade disintegrated in a precise explosion that damaged only the ship itself, leaving nearby structures intact. That vessel was destroyed by a weapon system we developed in the 6 months since your failed invasion, Dr. Rodriguez explained. Imagine what we could develop given more time and motivation. The implication was clear. Humanity had not only matched Council technology in some areas, but had already begun to surpass it through innovation born of necessity. The longer the conflict continued, the greater humanity's advantage would grow. 3 days later, after extensive deliberation and several attempted and swiftly neutralized counterattacks, the ruling conclave capitulated. The Accords of Mutual Recognition were signed in the Grand Hall, broadcast across the galaxy to all worlds under Council influence. As Ambassador Quaim and Supreme Counselor Dravmok pressed their palms to the authentication panel, finalizing the agreement, a new era of galactic politics began. Already, reports were coming in of uprisings on dozens of subjugated worlds, inspired by humanity's example. The Council's empire was transforming, painfully but inevitably, into something new. Aboard the Nemesis, preparing for the return journey to Earth, Admiral Kovac received the news with quiet satisfaction. Send word to Secretary General Okafor, she instructed her communications officer. Mission accomplished. The Council has recognized Earth's sovereignty and agreed to all terms. Her executive officer approached with a data tablet. Admiral, we're receiving transmission requests from 17 different worlds. They're asking for Earth's assistance in their own independence movements. Helena took the tablet, scanning the list of planets. Some she recognized from Council star charts, others completely unknown to her. It seems we started something bigger than ourselves, she mused. Should I decline the requests? The officer asked. Helena considered for a moment. No. Forward them to Geneva with my recommendation that we establish diplomatic relations. Earth went to the stars to assert our right to self-determination. We can't deny others the same opportunity. As the Earth fleet prepared for departure, Helena stood at the viewport, looking down at Arcalex. The planet appeared unchanged, its gleaming cities still standing, its people continuing their lives. But everything had changed. A species the Council had dismissed as primitive had done what none had dared in thousands of years. They had brought the fight to the Council's doorstep and emerged victorious. The Council had demanded tribute from Earth, expecting submission like countless worlds before. Instead, humanity had delivered something entirely different, a reckoning that would reshape the galaxy for generations to come. Not through overwhelming force or brutality, but through the uniquely human combination of ingenuity, determination, and the unwavering belief that freedom was worth any risk. As the fleet entered hyperspace, leaving Arcalex behind, Ambassador Quaim's final words to the Council echoed across human communications. Remember this day, not as the day you lost your empire, but as the day you gained true allies. For in recognizing each other as equals, we all become something greater than we were before. The Council had wanted tribute. Humanity had delivered a new beginning.